All right. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Again, this is being recorded so that you can catch it if you want to like rewind, and if you miss something or maybe you're late and tuning in, you can catch back in. But I also want this to be open dialogue with what are one or two things that you feel like you struggle with as it comes to being organized in your business, or like allotting your time, or being and like what gets in your way, I guess. Put that in the chat, and we're just going to go through a few bullet points because we're about to hit an insane part of our business. If you haven't been with us, like even if you started in a February or March before, like you're not going to quite grasp the magnitude, because you maybe you obviously weren't planting seeds before you joined the business. If you joined in February, March, because I know there are a couple people on our team that started last year around this time. So February and March are typically, and April are our busiest time of our entire business, because I think in January people are still recovering from the holidays. Typically, the reason we saw that burst in the beginning of the month is because people were getting stimulus checks. Let's be honest. So they had that freed up income to use to invest in themselves. So now we're reaching February, which what happens in February? People get their tax returns. So that's another freed up income for them to utilize to invest in it. So that is something that you should be discussing a lot now if you're going to be talking about the business. How, you can either live your life wishing for your tax return every year, or you can build yourself a financial situation where you don't have to even look forward to a tax return because you're just so financially set. Like that's my mindset. This is the last year I ever want to receive a tax return. I mean, you might get one if you have enough write-offs, but my goal is to like pay all of my taxes and like to zero out at the end of the year. And we want to help people get into that mindset, because like, what kind of life are you living if you're struggling for 11 months out of the year? What the hell was that? 11 months of the year, and then just looking forward to 1 month because you get this like lump sum of money, prioritizing, juggling everything. Okay. Huh? Good night. Love you. And then I think also, like, if the second part of the stimulus comes to play too, then there's obviously going to be a little increase in that. But so that's why February, March, April typically are really like booming seasons for us. People are more conscious about wanting to get like their body ready for the summer and stuff like that too. So I think it's important, because we're going into that season where you might be getting a lot of people in your messenger. If you're being really intentional right now with your time, and you're being really intentional with the things that you do, you're going to see that explosion in your business, and you're going to be busy. So how can we make sure that we're prioritizing things and being organized with our business and treating it truly like a business, not like a hobby, if you want it to be paid like a business, which I'm sure all of your goals are that. So let me just take a drink of water. The first thing that I wanted to talk about being intentional with is your posting. So I did a little video in Groundbreakers the other day because I had this like huge, I don't know if you've watched it, and that's fine. I kind of was like a hot mess in it, but like I always am. And the reason I had like this thought was I was scrolling through Instagram, I wasn't scrolling. I was intentionally going into Instagram and interacting with people that are following me or watching my stories. And I'm friends with I'm following a lot of people that are in different businesses. So that are in this industry. And what I was witnessing was I was seeing, like, there was one post that really caught my eye. It was like, they did a post of like a Zoom call with their CEO, and they were talking about like, oh, our CEO is so wonderful. I'm like, okay. And then I saw another one where it was like a video of them mixing up their coffee. And I was like, all right. And then then there was another one that was like just a box of their product. I realize as an outsider looking in, and I think sometimes when we're in our business, it's so easy for us to, you know, like you hear so much information from so many different people. Like, what do you decipher as right? And like, then you start like seeing like, oh, you kind of veer off and you're like, oh, it's working for them. So I'm going to try this. I want to tell you like the method that we have in place. Like if you go read our stuff, it's there for a reason because it works. What I realized was nobody gives a shit about your CEO. They don't. They don't care about the packaging that you have. They don't care about you mixing up your drink and saying happy coffee, like, because that's what it was. They don't give a crap about any of that stuff. They don't care about, they don't, honestly, in our business, like, they don't care about your patch. I mean, it's something that will catch their eye because it's not normal, but they don't care that it's a patch. What do they care about? They care about what it's going to do for them. They want to care about like, how is what you have going to help me financially? How is what you have going to help me with my health? So when we're posting, we always want it to come from a place of I. Like everyone likes to talk about themselves. We all like to talk about ourselves. It's human nature. People just like to give you their opinion. They like to talk about themselves and their family. That's just how we are wired as humans. If you truly, I'm going to shut that off. Sorry, guys. If you're truly wanting to get somebody's attention as to what you're saying, the best way to do that is to remove the word I from your posts. Now, you can obviously go into your story, but I think if you're for your initial like catchphrase, you want it to say you, because you want the person that's on the other side to be like, she's talking to me. So like Clara, you were talking about your anxiety today. I'm going to pull up your post because I'm just curious because you said you had a lot of feedback from it. You were like, don't forget to take care of you too. So I think it's important. So like, I always pick on you. I feel like you said, I know for me, anxiety has been really bad lately. Who can relate? So that's super good because you're turning it on them. I would have flipped it around and said like, who else has been really battling anxiety lately? And then be like, hands up, hands up. I know I have. And so I think that's really good that you talked about that. Anytime that you can like take the I out of your like post, the more impactful it'll be because people will be like, I swear you were talking about me. And I know I've talked about this a million times. So what is your audience needing? So I did a video like one-on-one, and if you guys like want one of these, like please reach out to me. I will free up my calendar so that I can spend one-on-one time with you if that's what you need. But with Jennifer, and her and I were talking, and I'm like, she's like, I just don't feel like I'm getting a lot of engagement and da 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 da. And like I posted a sample post the other day and I didn't get any hits on it. And I was like, okay, let me take a look at your stuff. And I was like, well, for one, you're not really discussing how the products are helping you. It's just like you will occasionally do it. But if you're not posting on a frequent basis, people don't know what you have to offer. It's like if Target shut their doors, and I always use Target. Oh, she hopped off because Sarah, but it's like Target just all of a sudden started changing their times. They're like, no, just kidding. Today we're open 10 to 5. No, today we're actually only open 1 to 2. Oh no, tomorrow we're only open from 5 to 6. Like they would lose business because they're not being consistent with what times their business is open, and your business is no different. So if you're being inconsistent with sharing your message every single day, they're not knowing if you're open or closed. So I took her through this exercise where I was like, okay, what I want you to do, and you guys do this too, because it was super eye-opening for me to do, was take a blank sheet of paper. And I literally thought of, what are people in my audience struggling with right now? I don't even know if I have it on my, I think I do. I think it's down here somewhere. I do. So like some of the things might be like they're tired in the morning. Mondays are always a struggle for people. They're crashing in the afternoon. Maybe they're drinking like a pot of coffee a day and they still don't feel awake because like their body is so conditioned to caffeine. There's moms that are parents that are trying to focus while their kids are doing distance learning or partial distance learning at home. Like, how are they able to like focus and help their kids and like be in a million places at once? Keeping up with energetic children, like toddlers, whatever. They're not getting sleep at night because like literally I had a customer order and she was like, I was like, tell me what other product do you want to try so I can send you a sample. And she's like, I'm not sleeping. So people aren't sleeping. The typical mom doesn't sleep. Like, let's be real. Having enough energy to keep going until the end of the day to get all the things done. Maybe, and I said struggling at sleep. Yeah. So like just taking a piece of paper and like writing down like what are all the things, and this might be like things that you're seeing, things that you see people talk about, just how your life used to be before. What are people struggling with in this season? Seasonal depression. I mean, we don't have to talk about seasonal depression, but like they're indoors. It's a real thing. The people's moods go down in the winter because they're not exposed to enough vitamin D, which helps with that sort of thing, and energy. And it's just you're inside and indoors, and especially now with everyone being locked down for all of last year, they're just not in the best place mentally. So like writing down all the things that you think are going on in your audience's life and talk about those things. You got to touch on those things, because if you're just talking about like one of the benefits, you might be missing a whole other group of people. So even if like it's not your favorite benefit, I think it's still important to talk about. So like, I know that I downplay how much I absolutely get the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life. And I need to hit on that more. And I don't even take rest at night. Rest is bomb though. Like if you're struggling with sleep, rest is like the best thing ever. And like as a mom, I remember how stressful it used to be, like getting up to go pee in the middle of the night, like thinking about all the thoughts about everything that's going on. And like I take advantage of the fact that now I'm asleep within 20 minutes of me like putting my phone down and like laying down. Like I'm out and then I wake up when my alarm goes off. People don't live that kind of life, and I'm taking it for granted. I need to share what I have. So then with the business, like what are people struggling with financially? Waiting for tax returns to come in, wondering if they're going to get another stimulus check, struggling with their bills. Maybe they're ignoring collection calls or letters or whatever. They're always working, having to ask for like sick days and PTO, maybe even just to like get stuff done around the house, because I know I used to do that. Like everything would pile up because you're working so much and you're like, I just need a day off. So I'm going to call in sick today so I can do stuff around the house. Your kids are being watched by someone else. Maybe your kids are at home and they're struggling with school all by themselves. You miss out on kids events. They're having to adjust with in the chat so I can continue. Am I good? Okay, good. I need a new computer so bad. So posting, truly caring about people, wanting to help them solve problems, because I promise you, if you're a problem solver first, your business will succeed. If you're in it for your own agenda, you will not have very long-lived success. And I've seen it happen with people where they're on their own agenda. Yes, these bonuses are life-changing for you, but they're also life-changing for other people. And we can't forget the fact that like the products are life-changing for people. So if you're on your own, like, I need to get this bonus, I need to get these people, I need to get all this stuff, then like the care factor is missing. And then when you stop like nurturing all those seeds that you were trying to harvest after the fact, they're going to die because the care component isn't there. So, let's see. Time. So I think this is probably a big one for a lot of people because you guys are working, and I have worked and done this business multiple times. I worked a full-time job when I first started. I wish I knew the stuff I know now when I was in my full-time job. And then of course I worked part-time, which was like pretty much full-time because it was most of my day was being there. So how can you use your time wisely? Hold on, I just got a message. I have a promoter signing today, so bear with me. Okay. So how are you spending your time? I hear a lot of the time that like September, you said like I'm struggling with juggling everything, or I just don't have time to work my business because I'm working a job or my kids at home or whatever. And I'm not going to downplay the fact that our lives are totally busy because I understand, like, even just like being home now, I'm trying to get the laundry done. I'm trying to get my exercise in. I'm trying to like play with my daughter because I don't have her home with me to just like ignore her. Trying to help my kids with homework, trying to run my business in the middle, like all the things. It's not easy. But how are you prioritizing the things that you're doing? Now, something that I had to take a close look at with myself was like, how much time was I spending on like applications that had nothing to do with my business? Was I using my phone as a toy or a tool? How was I spending my time? And like this, I don't mean like you can't like watch Netflix or anything like that. But if you're like binge watching a whole season in a day, like we need to talk. Because that is, and then coming to me and saying you don't have time for something, like there's places where you can squeeze in time. But how are you prioritizing your time? So for me, last year I spent a lot of time on TikTok. I built a large following on TikTok. I literally don't even go into the app. I have money. Like I just got an email today. They're like, you have 111 unopened notifications. I'm like, I'm cool, bro. I'm not going in there because I know that that's a suck of time. Another thing that can suck your time is how often are you scrolling on Facebook? If you're scrolling on Facebook saying you're engaging, I can tell you you're not. Because you're getting caught up in what people are doing. And half the time you're just scrolling and watching stuff. You're not like actively engaging because you're not being intentional with what you're doing on your social media. Same goes like now Reels is like the new TikTok on Instagram. And that can be really easy for you to like get sucked into because they're just quick videos and you think like, oh, I'm just going to watch a couple. And then a couple turns into a couple hours and then you're like, where did the time go? But for me, I set a timer on my phone. The only reason I go into Reels is because I want to get some ideas of things that I can do on Reels. So I'll set a timer. Here's my 5 minutes to go in there and watch a couple videos, 5 or 10 minutes, jot down notes, save some music or things that I can lip sync or whatever. But I know if I'm left to my own devices that I'm going to spend entirely too much time on there. So how are you using your phone as a toy or a tool? So how can you change that mindset? Like, I think especially like when you shift from using a phone for entertainment purposes, and then you switch to now it's for business purposes, that mindset shift is really hard to do. Why is my mouth so dry? So like my husband, when I first started the business, like he had no idea, like you're on your phone so much. Like his idea of using social media is completely different than how I actually use it. I'm like, you think I'm just scrolling and watching things all day? I'm like, no, I'm like going and I'm talking to people and I'm adding people and stuff like that. But if you're telling like your family, your spouse, your whatever, that you are, you're working, you've got to be honest with yourself too and ask yourself, am I actually working, or am I using my phone as a piece of entertainment, like a toy? And that's a term I heard from John Eric. I really like him. He's good with like social media and stuff like that. So I've learned a lot of things from him. Okay. Sorry. But so how are you using it? Okay, so how can you be more intentional with your time you're spending on your phone? Because my priority with you guys is not to take away from your time. It's to give you more time freedom in the future with this business. I do not want it to replace like precious time with your family. I want you to be intentional when you're going on your phone so that you don't feel like, oh God, I'm just always working my business. Because the reality is, if you're on your phone all day for your business, you're probably not actually working your business. You're doing other things. And so how can you go in? So we're going to talk a little bit about organization with Messenger. I discussed this with Mel the other day, and she was like, oh my God, that helps so much. And this is another tip I learned. And then like, how do you intentionally go in and like engage an ad and stuff like that? So let's first go with engagement, because I feel like that can be the easiest time suck for you ever. Because you would go in with the intention of engaging, and then you're watching cat videos the next thing you know, and you're like, what the hell happened? So what I personally do is I never, ever go on my timeline. Ever. So like, if you guys make a post and you want me to love on your post, you got to let me know, because I don't go onto my timeline, because I know that when that's how I operated with my engagement, it wasn't effective. So what do I do instead? Every day. So like, I don't know, however many days ago, I have so many letter A's. It's not even funny. I started with the letter A. So I go to the letter A, and then I go down the list and I start interacting with those people. If they posted within 2 days and it's nothing like stupid or crazy that I can't comment on, then I'll leave a comment, a thoughtful comment of 4 words or more. Then I'll move on to the next person. Then I'll move on to the next person. So intentionally going through the alphabet. And what I try to do is go through a letter of the alphabet a day. And I think like sometimes we get into this like hustle mindset where you're like, I have to do more. I have to do more. I want to get more. I want to do more. Like I want to sign more people. I want to sign more customers. But like you're telling the universe that you're desperate, instead of being like, I'm going to intentionally do this for this amount of time and then let it be and let the universe sort it out. That's what I had to realize. Like what the thought of hustling means that I'm not trusting the process. And that's when you come off disingenuine. That's when like you have your agenda as opposed to really trying to build relationships with people. But when you're going in with that set objective, it's so much easier for you to be like, once I'm done with the A's, I'm done. I'm not doing another letter of the alphabet. I'm just going to let that be and let the world work out how it is. And then the next day I go and do letter B. And then the next day I go in and do letter C. And then sometimes like I'll go in and just go into people's stories for like, I'll set a timer for 5 minutes and do stories, just engage with stories for 5 minutes. I don't care how many I do. I just do them. That way you can be intentional without getting sucked into your timeline, without engaging with the same group of people over and over again, because the people that are showing up in your timeline are already people that are seeing your stuff. So it's like you opening your doors of business, like Target opening the doors of business to only the same 10 people. We want to open those doors to more people. So that's how you can engage with people and make sure that you're touching on all those people. And then if you see people that you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to be friends with this person anymore. I don't even know why I added them. Unfriend them. That number of friends list does not matter. If you're effectively engaging with your audience, you're showing them love, you're providing value to them. It doesn't matter if you have 5,000 friends in your friends list. I promise you. I used to be so fearful of like removing friends from my friends list because I was like, oh no, the number's going down. I was like, no, like I want the right people. If you're serving the right 1,000 people, 1,000 people's a lot. So if you're serving that, like 5,000, it's way better than 5,000 people that you don't even talk to half of them. So go through the alphabet, do that every single day. And that's one way you can stay super hyper focused on your engagement. Messenger. How do we organize our messenger? Because you sometimes get a lot of messages. I know, like for me, I'm in a ton of three-way messages, and I have like, I swear there's like so many team chats. It's not even funny. And the way that I do it, maybe I'll pull up, or I'll actually show you my screen so you can see me. Hi. So what I have is, I don't know if you can see, by names, there's like colored hearts. So like there's a green heart. There's a bunch of hearts. So what I do, and I'll post this in, I might have already posted it, I'm not sure. But I'll post this in the Groundbreakers for you guys to see. I color code my chats, my people in my chats. So I'm just going to pull up the conversation I had with Mel so that I have it on hand. So what I'll do, if somebody is sampling, I give them a blue heart in front of their name. And I do that even if I'm throwing them into three ways with stuff. I'll like name it, their first name, sample. And then I'll put the blue heart in front of their name. And then I'll do that with everybody that's sampling. The reason why is because when I go into like, okay, now is my time to do my messages. I'm going to follow up with my samples. All I have to do is look for the blue hearts. Or if I want to follow up with people that maybe sampled before and like ghosted me or like fell off the face of the earth, if I'm following up with them because it's just been a period of time and I want to ask them, especially if they've loved their stuff, all I have to do is search for a blue heart. It's so easy. You don't have to like look for names or anything like that. Red hearts are like, this is a conversation that's literally going nowhere. I should have done black heart. Promoters, if you're a promoter on my team, you know that I nickname you with a orange heart so that if I'm, I want to touch base with you, I just look for your orange heart and then I can engage with you. Customers are a yellow heart for me. Potential customers are green. So maybe they've sampled, they said they're ready to order, but like they're waiting for Friday or something like that. And then potential promoters are purple. So that's what I do. It's so much easier for you to go into your messenger and actually actively follow up with people and engage with them. Because I get it. Like, because Mel was like, how do I keep track of like all these people that I'm doing? So if you're putting me into a three-way message, like that might be a really good thing to start doing so that I can, if I want to like check in on your people, maybe you haven't been able to, instead of me like trying to figure out who's when and what, just put like that blue heart in the front, their first name, and then sample at the end. So that's what I do. I also have for my customers, because I'm trying to get a lot better with maintaining my customers, because one of my goals is to get the elite auto bonus, and you need 11 customers on continual auto ship. And I just want to do right by the people that trusted me enough to use the products. So, and I think this is something that I really lacked in for a long period of time. I want to have continuing ordering customers. I want to maintain my free products every month so that I can give back to my team and I can give back to my customers too. And the only way I can do that is if I have auto ships every month. So I write their names on a card with their, oh, this one doesn't even have addresses. So I have like their name, their phone number. You can get usually most of this information from the back office. Name, phone number, email, their username, in case like they're like, hey, I have a friend that wants to try. I can just easily find their username and give them their website. Their customer number in case I want to transfer them credits real quick. Because once you start building up all these free accounts, like now that I've been doing this for 3 years on mine, I think. Hold on. That stupid Instagram thing in the beginning. It drives me nuts. I think I have something like over 200 customers or something like that. Customer accounts, not actual customers. People that have created accounts with me. And like going in there, yeah, 202. That's just on mine. So, and then I have some on Ricky's too. But like to go in there is overwhelming because you're like, I don't remember what kind of conversation we had. Like, shoot, I got to search for this person. Like, I was not diligent. And then what I'll do is I'll write on the back of their thing. Like, she was a Balance customer and I sent her a sample of the 3 steps, like a 2-day sample. So I have like all their information, what their address is, so I can like send them gifts and thank you cards. And if you don't, because you don't get their address off of the back office. So sometimes you just have to ask them and you say like, hey, I just want to send you a thank you. What's your address? And they're really nice about it. But I color coded it too. So if you have more than one account, you can know like who's under who. So like green is Ricky, yellow is me. That's another thing that I do. So I hope that's helpful with that. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short tonight. So we already talked about priorities, like where are your priorities? Where are you actually spending your time? Are you able to like, if you want, okay, we're going to talk about running your business like a business. If you are treating your business like it's piece of hair, like it's a hobby, don't expect to get business money off of it. There are so many times where I was treating it like an afterthought before and wondering why I was getting a $50 paycheck for the week. It's because I wasn't being intentional with my business. I wasn't being intentional with the customers that were trusting me. I wasn't following up with them. I wasn't caring enough about their needs because I was on my own agenda. This was like 2 years ago. I've learned my lesson. But I was on my own agenda at the time. And here's the thing. I'm a really caring person. Like I want people to see people succeed and I want to cheer them on. And I love watching people win and stuff like that. But sometimes you get so clouded with like, if you're struggling financially and you just want to get out or you just want more time or you just want to quit your job or like any of those things, you get in your own agenda. And then you like all the actual functionalities of a business kind of go out the window and you're just like, you're a customer number collector. And I never want to be that type of person. So when you are treating it like a hobby, like you're sometimes posting, maybe you'll reach out to some people. You don't really follow up with your customers. You're not really following up with the promoters that you've signed. Then don't expect to get business paychecks because you're going to get $50 paychecks or maybe even $100, but you're not going to get like the 500, the 1,000, the 5,000 that we really want, right? So this month, my word of the year is intentionality. So how am I being intentional in all areas of my life? And that started with how am I being intentional with my business? So it's hard when you have like kids and you have a job and you have all these things and you're like, how am I going to fit this in? How am I going to juggle everything? Balance, there is no such damn thing as balance. Like anyone that tells you find your balance is full of shit because they obviously don't have a 5-year-old that like interrupts your live videos and screams bloody murder out of nowhere, out of all of a sudden. They don't experience that if they're preaching balance to me because there is no way to have balance with kids sometimes because they're unpredictable. Jobs are unpredictable. Somebody called in sick and now you have to show up to work or whatever that looks like. Life is unpredictable. However, you can be intentional with the moments that do appear to you. So like this morning, I'll give you an example. So usually I have a schedule, an intended schedule that I write out every day. Like 4 a.m. prayer, 5:30 I'm going to read, 6 o'clock I have a Zoom, 7 I'm going to work out, 8 o'clock breakfast. I'm going to do my Facebook IPAs, my income producing activities. While I'm eating my breakfast, I'm going to do my engagements, and I'm going to go into groups and stuff like that. Well, my middle child had to unexpectedly, well, he was going to school, so he gets to go to school on Wednesdays, and they don't normally have that because he has ADHD and he gets like special testing and stuff like that. But anyways, normally the van picks him up at 8 a.m. They didn't show up. So what did I have to do? I had to drop everything, go bring him, fill up my air on my tires because it was super low, and then had to come back, which took like an hour. So that knocked out all of my breakfast and my IPAs. So now I'm down to 9 o'clock. If I had balance, I would be like, shoot, everything's out the window. I'm just not even going to try anymore. That was my mindset before. Instead, I was like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to make my daughter breakfast. I'm going to eat my breakfast. And then we're going to play. And then when I have a free moment, I'm going to take like 5 minutes and just do some engagements, mark where I'm at, like screenshot where I'm at, and then come back to it when I have some moments in, like if I'm going to the bathroom, or for instance, I took a bath today. So then I did some stuff in there. And it's just about finding the time. And instead of you doing mindless scrolling or watching TikTok or doing whatever you normally do to like unproductively pass your time, that's when you should be working your business. If you're watching a movie, like my husband and I just watched a movie, I was still doing all of my Instagram engagements as him and I were watching it. I would pause for a couple minutes, like watch it with him for a little bit, laugh with him about it, blah, 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 go back to it. Like, it's about being intentional with what you're doing. So if you're really like, take a look at the things that you're doing. And I had this exercise before, but like, take a look at the things. What are you doing in the moments when you do have free time? Are you scrolling Facebook? Because if you are, then don't come at me, bro, and say you don't have time to run the business, because it just means that you're using your phone as a toy. And if you're needing help with how do I break out of that mindset, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with anything, because I had to overcome those same obstacles, you guys. Like I had never done this business. I had no idea what I was doing. I was working a full-time job, and I figured it out because I wanted it badly enough, but I had to fail along the way. And my goal, and I try to tell you guys this all the time, is that I went through all that stuff. So like, you guys don't have to. So you don't have to learn through all that stuff. I want to shorten your success timeline, but you got to trust the things I'm saying and like be honest with me and be honest with yourself. And when I'm giving you like saying like, hey, use the alphabet, use the damn alphabet. Don't say like, well, I think this might be a better way. Like, no, I've tried I thought this was a better way and it did not work. It didn't work. Success leaves clues. And I'm not the only person that says this is the way that you should do engagement. I actually got it from somebody else and implemented it and it works. So like, why wouldn't you try something that works for somebody else? Like, don't reinvent the wheel is what they always say, but it's true. I don't want you to have to like fail through all those things thinking you might know a better way and being stubborn when it's really, because that was me, when really just listen to what the person's saying, because they're at the point they are for a reason. Like, trust what they're saying and do it. So does anyone have any questions about anything? Oh no, Jennifer's like, I'm going to be late. We're trying to get Zeke to sleep in his own bed. And she's like, so the cry out method has not worked. SOS. Poor thing. Oh God. Is there anything else that I can help with as far as like being intentional and like running your business like a business? And if you're too shy to share in the chat, like feel free to PM me. That's fine too. I get it. Why do I have so many tabs open? You're welcome. I'm gonna